Hands up. Who read the Herald this morning as a print publication? How many read it this morning online? How many did both? You greedy beggars. Yeah. I think things are changing, don't you? I changed my media consumption a couple of years ago, where I read the thing online as well, and lots of other things besides. And I think that's got major implications for us as PR people.
What's struck me recently is information overflow. I think the way that technology has advanced has been incredible, even in the amount of time I've been working in PR. But that technology still doesn't really... I mean, the iPad is fantastic, and Warwick will go into detail about it, but the technology hasn't really caught up with the amount of information that's just flowing over us every day. And the vast majority of people haven't got the brain power and capacity to disseminate that information. And I think as PR practitioners, we can find ourselves looking at too many different news sources and in too much depth and getting a bit lost in news without actually finding out what the angle we need to sort of pursue is for our clients. To give an example, I look at the Herald each morning, just the front page of the website, nothing more. Look at stuff.co.nz, just the front page, nothing more. I don't look at the print titles unless I know there's something specifically coming up for a client. And about once a week, I pop onto other titles like NBR, interest.co.nz. But I also look at foreign media as well, because often stories can come up that we haven't actually realised are stories here in New Zealand, or we can turn them into stories for our clients. If you look at The Guardian or The Telegraph or Wall Street Journal, you can pick up some great stories that haven't really had any traction here. So I try and sort of, again, just look at the front page of those websites, because I've found that anything beyond that is just consumes too much of my time. But there's so many different social media resources out there that you can just spend your entire day just having these meaningless conversations or looking at stories which really add no value to your life and certainly not to your clients' lives, and they're the ones paying you money during the day. So I've really become a lot stricter about how I consume content. I wish I could do it with email as well, but clients seem to get annoyed if you don't reply to them within an hour or 2 hours. But looking at things at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And I don't worry if I haven't tweeted someone back within 1 or 2 hours. It's just, I will get back to them. And none of these resources were invented so that we could be more stressed, busier, and feel like we had to get back to people quicker than ever before, which is often what happens, and I think it's an unfortunate set of circumstances.
Of course, now we've got a whole different thing, and the speed of innovation has really changed based around a few things. Firstly, the ability for people to get access to the things that they want to. So when I was watching that Commonwealth Games feed, I had no choice over what I watched. I was fed what TVNZ wanted me to see, and for years over that, I've been fed what the New Zealand Herald wanted me to see and read in exactly the same order every morning, and I just avoided the stuff I didn't. The cars section usually and the classified ads. Now I consume what I want, and this change over the last few years, giving consumers the power to watch and engage and consume what they want, is really what the future is all about. If we look at these devices, sorry, the top left there, the flip camera, $299 for an instantaneous connectivity to video that you just plug into your computer and you have full screen motion video instantly. It really began with September the 11th, where we started to, on that morning, see that event in our living rooms and the speed with which that happened, and how many people watched the Japanese tsunami just a couple of weeks ago. As it was happening, we were watching that wave come in, and that is what drives public relations and this connectivity. How quickly can you connect? How can you be at the forefront of being the story of the day, and how can you get people to engage and consume with the devices that you've got? So my holy trinity is three things: the Mac, the iMac, my iPad, and my iPhone. And it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not a device junkie, but it could be a smartphone with Windows 7. It could be a Google phone running Android. It could be a new tablet. They're all about to come out. It's been predicted that the tablet access device, not Apple's only, is going to drive a 5.6% increase in IT spending this year alone as these devices transform the way people consume and connect to the things that are important to them. So how many people actually get RSS feeds from places that are important to them? How many people have more than 10 of those that they monitor? So you don't wait now. As PR people, you get notified of things that are really important. At HP, the last big company that I was at, we published digital press release websites where instead of faxing everybody that was important, we'd say the digital press release site is now up, and when you get there in your own time, when you're ready, and when we're relevant to you, you can download the video, the press release, the product guides, anything that you want. Whereas in the old days, as people getting these PR releases, they'd pile up and they'd think, oh, I remember getting a fax about something 3 or 4 weeks ago and trying to find it again. So speed of change, relevance of content, specificness to what you want to get across. Rob. In terms of the next thing, of course, is this ability to be connected to the right voice, if you like. So just click again and you'll see we're talking about a whole different landscape for communication. That as PR professionals, you've really got to understand the value of each to the audience that you're trying to reach in terms of the way that you choose to be engaged. How many people got that viral email this week about the new website being called uTwitface? Didn't anyone get that? A combination of these 3 websites. It was a really funny one this week. If we go to the next slide, of course, what we've got to think about is how quickly this changes. How many people have seen Panic Attack on YouTube? No? So this is a 22-year-old guy from Uruguay making on his Mac in his bedroom a short film using Final Cut Pro called Panic Attack. If you just put Panic Attack into YouTube, you'll be able to bring it up. It's the most incredible short film I've ever seen. Within 3 weeks of posting this video to YouTube, he was contacted by a Hollywood agent, and he's just won the contract to direct the follow-up to District 9 that Peter Jackson did. So from nothing to 2 weeks later, he's got a $30 million Hollywood contract because of his ability to be engaging in this media, and you've really got to monitor that. Freddie Alvarez, have a look, you'll see what I mean. Next, please. Then, of course, if we look at online video, not only can it be posted, but what's really, really interesting is people don't expect things to be professional anymore. The old days of having to spend hours and hours creating a beautiful video has been replaced by the fact is it entertaining, is it authentic, is it shareable, and is it short? And of course, Cadbury have been doing this with the gorilla and the drum playing, and of course then followed by the twins, which was just a worldwide sensation. Next one, Rob. Then, of course, there's the spoof of the takeoffs of the takeoff, and this is Lily Allen and a sidekick doing a takeoff of the Cadbury ad that had 3.5 million views just because it was an entertaining takeoff of something similar. And then again, there's Air New Zealand, Rob. Oh, no, sorry, I forgot the man that you could smell like if you used Old Spice. Now, I'm sure you must have all seen the Old Spice guy, but this was a massively, probably the most successful viral online campaign about an aftershave that I doubt any of us would ever expected to use again, because it was entertaining, it was funny, it was viral, and people couldn't wait to share it in the vain hopes that their man might one day smell like this man looks. I mean, where's the connection there? Next, please. Then, of course, there's Fred. I don't know, has anyone heard of Fred? He's a 12-year-old influencer. So the next big thing that's happening with this speed of change is about the size of your audience. Fred is a 12-year-old American guy that has 15 million followers, and every single hardware and IT vendor in America wants to get Fred to endorse their product purely because of the size of his audience. So that's what it comes down to now. You know, Facebook, YouTube is how fast, how furious, and how important are they? So where we used to talk about the 80-20 rule, and you've got to know the top 20% of customers that spend money with you, now, as a challenge to our PR agents, we're saying who are the top 20 influencers in our field that we need to align ourselves to because of the size of their audience. So have a look at Fred. Of course, Air New Zealand, seeing Rod Fife half naked, of course, that created a sensation across New Zealand and the world. And then they've had Rico, and they've now got rapping with Snoop Dogg. What's that got to do with flying? But the new safety video with Richard Dreyfuss, the 80s jazzercise guy. This is the challenge for PR, is how do we take something that's serious, how do we introduce entertainment, make it viral, make people want to share it, and make people want to tag us. And it's the ability for people to consume at will when they're ready that will change the way that you think about the way you work. Nearly there. Next, please. So in terms of your challenge for all of you and your clients, it's how do you promote? How do we use the the art of consumption and the tools that people have got available, websites, blogs, emails, Twitter, and get things embedded, shared, linked, and entertained around, and get that buzz happening on these different social media channels. The last one is don't take your eye off the devices, because the future is all about the speed of change. And this year ahead, more and more people are going to get these. The iPad 1 is down to under $500, so suddenly the consumption isn't going to be a problem anymore. Thank you.